we were expecting to hear a decision on the Cancer Cluster Relocation Fund for Fifth Ward residents. The proposal would help move people out of parts of the Fifth Ward considered to be part of a cancer cluster. But that choice was delayed. So our Real One Belogan sat down with Councilwoman Letitia Plummer asking why she chose to delay it.
Although I'm grateful that the mayor is taking a stance and creating the fund for us, there was too much uncertainty in the community that we just hadn't dealt with.
What are some of those uncertainties that you're hearing?
Yes, I mean, I have a list of 26 of them, but primarily it's how the land is going to be relocated. How, when people do leave out of the community, who's going to own the land? If the land is taken over, is someone going to be able to buy it? Is it going to be green space? If renters move, what if the homeowner that owns the houses don't move? What are the renters going to do with the money? Are they going to ultimately not have somewhere to live? Who owns the land bank? Who is a third-party lender that's managing the fund? Do we know that the land is actually contaminated? Why are we waiting for the EPA to do their testing? Like, there's so many conversations and questions that go along with this, and those are just some of them.
All right. Mayor Turner said his plan is just to set aside the money. He said ideally Union Pacific would also add to the fund. There's a lot of uncertainty here. So joining me this morning is Fifth Ward resident Kathy Bluford Daniels. Good morning. Thank you for making the drive. I appreciate you coming into the studio this morning. For those people who are not familiar with the area, can you tell me how this cancer cluster has affected you, your family, your neighbors?
Well, we've been working on this since 2014, knowing that there was some issues with the dust being disturbed, the dirt being disturbed for residents in the area. And a lot of people have succumbed to cancer, so we started to question what was in the contents of the soil. And then, so we spoke with Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, of course, Senator Boris Miles was the first ones on board. And we started trying to execute a plan to notify UP that we had some concerns.
Just because you had so many examples of people being diagnosed.
There were so many people that were diagnosed with cancer in the immediate area. The cancer where it had not been long-term or actually reoccurring in families, for instance, my family. And so with that, we started to raise questions. What's really going on? We knew as children growing up, we could smell the creosote. We had no idea the harm that it was causing us. We even played in the water.
How could you?
We had no idea, just children being children.
Of course.
And from that, then, of course, the city came out and tested the soil. The mayor was actually one of the first ones to do testing, soil testing in the area. And from that, it was found that we had lots of contaminants in the soil.
So now with the city that's being, with the relocation fund that's being proposed by the city, help explain this to people, because a lot of people have seen the cancer cluster and they're like, well, get out of there. Just move, like as if it's that easy, right? So to clarify, it's not that you disagree with the relocation fund, but it's the tabling it for the next administration that you disagree with?
Well, my concern is, and first of all, thanks to the mayor, because he was the first one to actually execute a plan to start earmarking funding for the relocation of possible options of relocation for the residents.
To help people get to a new home.
Correct, because this is historical property.
Yeah.
This has been passed down to generational properties, and we've lived there for generations. And so people who live in Fifth Ward generally want to remain in Fifth Ward. So with the mayor earmarking that money, that's all it is earmarking money for relocation opportunities, not saying everybody has to move, but it's an option for people to move.
So have you talked to your neighbors about the relocation? Would any of them choose to leave?
We have talked to several of the neighbors that have been, the areas that have been identified, because all the area is not identified as having toxins or an excessive amount.
Okay.
So there are some that want to leave. There are a few that want to leave, but on the other side of that, what Councilmember Plummer and Councilmember Jackson are saying, that we've got to continue to educate people as to what that move looks like. It's not just picking up stakes and moving, again, because it's inherited property that most people are having anyway. So we just have to talk about the end results with that.
And really, before now, it was that a lot of people didn't have the type of money that it would take to to move, to buy the boxes and pack up all your stuff, much less the energy to do that, and then also go into a new place and have a down payment for a new place. It was too difficult. So do you think that this relocation fund would do enough to help you make that transition if somebody were to choose to move?
It's a start, and the mayor has been the only one to make that attempt financially to start. So obviously it wouldn't be enough for everyone, but it would be enough for those that have been identified immediately that have chosen to be able to relocate. So we just want to be thankful to the mayor for even finding that funding, and that's so important that we don't want to lose sight of that.
Right.
And even going into the next administration, we don't know what the next administration, whoever he or she may be, what they will do.
Yeah.
The Congresswoman has worked hand in hand with us, but a lot of the other people that are running for mayor have not.
Yeah.
So it's concerning as to having that money earmarked right now, what that would look like 5 years from now or 2 years from now.
And Councilwoman Plummer's wanting to basically make it a legal document to say that this money has to be used for you guys.
That's correct. That's correct. And we appreciate that because she's been working hand in hand with us as it relates to the cancer cluster. And so we appreciate that effort. But again, I can't stress enough that if this money is not earmarked right now by the mayor and approved by council members, we won't have it.
Because his term is ending.
In 3 months, correct.
Yeah. And we don't know what the next person
That's
would do.
correct.
Would you leave?
I don't know because my husband has cancer now, so I don't
so
know. Thank you, but I don't know. If you'd asked me that a year ago, I would say definitely no, but I'm not really sure if I would leave right now.
When you go to the Fifth Ward, you get those small town vibes. Like I know you guys are a close-knit community. You're probably living among neighbors who you probably went to school with. Is that right?
Neighbors, there are 9 houses on my street, and 7 of those are either my mother, my cousin, my brother, my niece. So we're more
They're
than,
not neighbors.
We are
I
a
get
village,
it.
truly a village.
And that's what I try to tell people, or that's what I'm trying to tell people right now is that it's not as simple as just moving to a new place. I mean, you've got deep, deep roots here.
Absolutely. My mother's house is over 100 years old. So yes, we're rooted and booted in Fifth Ward, definitely in our communities.
So most of the questions center around the homeowners and what you guys are going to do. What would you like to happen if for the people who do choose to relocate, what would you like to happen with that land?
Well, if they choose to relocate, of course, the city is going to probably own the land. Anyway, I can't see people having it both ways, continuing to own the land and then having the option and choosing the option to move somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we'd like to see that land just not be sold off to developers in the next 10, 15 years when supposedly it may subside or something. So, because again, this is historical property. We've had it air property handed off for years and years and years, generationally. And most people who live in Fifth Ward is because they grew up there, their family is from there, their mother, father, grandparents, etc.
Yeah. Lots to think about.
It is a lot to think about and take in, but I hope people are not deterred because of the concerns with moving out. Let's get the money earmarked first to have that available for the next mayor coming into the city, so we can say this is dedicated funding for these people to have that option to move.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in and helping to explain this issue to our viewers and let the city of Houston know where you guys stand. Like I said, there's a lot to think about, and I'm curious to see what happens, but we'll be here for you whenever
Thank you.
need
We
us.
appreciate all your coverage on it.
Thank you.